Hello and welcome to Blockchain Gaming World with me, John Jordan. So in this video, we're going to have a quick look at what's going on with Star Atlas and its DAO. So it's decentralized autonomous organization. Let's get it right. Star Atlas is a game running on Solana. The game is not live yet. It's in development. Very ambitious. Various bits of it are online, marketplace, some mini game type stuff. But big announcement was around the DAO. So a DAO is something that lots of blockchain projects have, or at least are sort of considering. And it's sort of a way of allowing people who own a certain asset, typically that's a token, could be an NFT, but it's a way of people who own those tokens coming together and voting on proposals. So typically these things work by certain sort of people can create proposals. There may be some sort of gating of how you can create proposals. Maybe not everyone can do it. Maybe you have to have a certain type of certain number of tokens or certain type of token. But if someone can create a proposal, and then that goes to the vote, and the people who are the token holders go and vote on it. So that's the idea of a DAO. There's a few games have them. So Star Atlas obviously has just launched its one. Illuvium has one. There's a few other sort of smaller ones have them. And obviously it's running on Solana, so in order to get this up and running, we need to connect our Solana wallet. So I'm going to use Phantom. And in fact, I'm already logged into my Phantom. So that's my that's my Solana wallet address using Phantom, which is a browser extension. So broadly, we can think of it as the MetaMask for Solana. So it's a Chrome extension. So we can see here at the moment, it looks like not a lot's going on. I have no governance token. So Polis is the governance token for Star Atlas, obviously a token running on Solana. Transactional token Atlas, this is sort of the utility token, I guess, Atlas, and then blockchain token is Sol. So I've got a tiny bit of Sol in my wallet. But what have I been doing? So to say, this is just launched, so it's very early stages, and there's not a lot of stuff here. So this is a very sort of primer video. So there's no proposals yet. In fact, for Star Atlas, what they've said is at the moment, the only people who can create proposals are basically the Star Atlas dev team. So I just can't create a proposal because obviously people would create proposals like, give all the treasury money to me. Obviously, people would vote against that. But sometimes you can have sort of things where the community might say, I don't believe in this project anymore. We should sort of give the treasury. We should give the treasury to the people in the DAO. And you may actually find a whole bunch of people thinking, no, that's pretty good for me. I might get a bunch of money. So there is sort of a way, I guess, with all democracy of sort of controlling these things. And over time, Star Atlas dev team hope they can fully decentralize it, but that's probably going to take a few years. So at the beginning, proposals will just come from the Star Atlas dev team. So here we have lockers. So this is where the interesting sort of bit is here. In terms of what I've been doing some stuff. So I had 24.85 Polis tokens. So this is not very much. This is about a Polis token is about 50 cents US cents. So this is $12 sort of amount. Not a big spender here. But I have $12 worth of this token. But what have I done here? So I've got no claimed rewards yet. So one of the things about sort of locking tokens in so you can vote is you get some rewards. It's a bit like staking. But it's staking with a sort of purpose because you're going to be able to vote on stuff. What I've done here, as you can see, I've locked this up for 5 years. So I've got 24.85 tokens, but my voting power is a multiple of that, and because I've locked them up for a long time. And this is actually the most you can lock up. So you can lock them up for different amounts of time, but the longer you lock them up, the more sort of bigger multiplier you get, which is sort of it sort of makes sense. If I'm, this is a very small amount, so it doesn't really matter. But basically, I can't get these tokens out for 5 years. I've sort of nailed my sort of colours to the mast on this one. And if you obviously you were someone who had, a lot more Polis, that if you had like even $1,000 and you were going to lock that up for 5 years, that's basically $1,000 you can't get out. And who knows, in 5 years' time, Star Atlas might be the most popular blockchain game ever, and they'll be worth a lot of money. Or in 5 years' time, Star Atlas might be a failed project, and basically you lost that $1,000 you could have sold there and then. So that's sort of the skin in the game sort of thing that's going on here. We can see here. So if I had some more tokens, I could lock those in. So rewards are coming. So where are we now? So rewards are starting in August. We can see here my voting power over time. So this is where I am right now because I've locked them in for 5 years. So I have this amount, and over time, it doesn't really show it down here, but this is over 5 years. So over time, my voting power will go down and down and down and down and down. So obviously, until the time where these become ready for unlocking, and then my voting power is massively sort of reduced by that stage. Because obviously, what you want is you want the people to have the biggest impact, the ones who have staked the most for the most time. If tomorrow I'm going to get all my tokens out, then I could obviously I could sort of rage vote or put a proposal in for something that is really good for me because I'm going to be out of the system tomorrow. So basic psychology here. We can see here. So here's the period lock. If I had some of these polished tokens to lock up, I could lock them up for 2 weeks. That's the minimum, and I get like a tiny multiplier. And over time, you can see, if you lock them in for 6 months, you get sort of parity. You get 1 times. But I locked them in for 5 years, and I get 10 times. That's why my voting power is the same as someone who has 248.5 tokens who'd locked them up for 6 months. So I've got the same power as them. So that's how that sort of works. So we can see here the total supply is 101.5 million tokens. Total supply. So this is the number of tokens that are actually live at the moment. And the total supply, this is how many they're going to print, mint, I should say, 360 million. So we're about under a third of total supply out there. We can see of this total supply, how much is locked. Actually, not very much. So about 5% of the total supply is currently locked. That's not very much. I mean, this only went live a few days ago, so maybe that's why. And obviously, the other thing is, if you're locking up your tokens, you can't sell them. So if people want to, depends on people's view on projects, I suppose. Treasury is coming soon, so this is the treasury for the game. That's pretty common. That there will be a whole bunch of tokens that will be controlled by the DAO, and the DAO will, maybe someone will put in a proposal like, let's have a really cool Super Bowl ad next year that's going to cost us $1 million, and people will decide whether that's a good use of the tokens or not. Obviously, at that point, you'd have to take the $1 million worth of tokens, sell them on an exchange, give $1 million to the creative agency who's going to make your ad and all that sort of stuff. But that's sort of how it could go. Or equally, you could be like maybe you get the situation where you go, I want to run a YouTube channel about Star Atlas, and I need $1,000 a month, and maybe they'll think that's a good use. That's more sort of grants, I suppose, but that's one of the things you can do with DAOs. More audit services. So this is just an audit about what's going on. So there we go. This is what's going on with Star Atlas. I mean, I personally am a big sort of fan of DAOs. I think DAOs are very interesting. I think very few games actually, have a functioning DAO yet, and that's because that's a few years off. Lots of the big games. I mean, Axie Infinity again is one that's gonna, says it's gonna have a DAO. It doesn't know exactly when, but these things are sort of difficult structures, difficult community edifices to build, and it's going to take time, and stuff's going to go wrong. I guess sort of most famously, there's a DAO for a guild called Merit Circle that had a massive bust up with one of their investors, YGG Guild. So from that point of view, the DAO did things that probably the co-founders of Merit Circle wished they hadn't, but they did those things, and eventually it sort of got worked out, I suppose, to some degree. But DAOs are a double-edged sword, but I think that's sort of where the trend is going. So developers need to be sort of trying to start to dealing with this sort of stuff, and particularly, as I would say, for a project like Star Atlas, where it's probably again another, I doubt we'll get much playable content in the next year or so. Probably, it's a very big, ambitious project. I mean, maybe they can chop it up in little bits and give us sort of vertical slices and stuff, but it's a bit of a way off. So you need to be giving people things to be doing with their tokens and stuff for a community to sort of have discussion and argument around as well. So that's good from that sort of point of view. Anyway, that's enough for this video. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, and see you again soon.